Okay, so I did the progressed. Usually I had been using every 5 years, going back doing 5 years of progressions. Now, since doing these classes, I realized I picked it back up to 10 years, look back 5 years, look forward 5 years to get all the progressions. These are all the progressions together so they stand up. And there's not too much happening. The moon changing signs and houses through 2016, 17. 2019, the progressed moon went into Libra. But right now, 2020, September 26th, there's Venus is squaring the sun. So this is Venus. So it's going to be there for a year or two before, a year or so after, or a year anyways. So that's already starting now. This values, the Venus is challenging the sun. Has a square aspect to the sun. It's questioning the values. What's valuable, what's not, what has to be done, and there's stress involved with this. What do I want? What don't I want? This is going on all this past year in the middle of this Pluto stuff, in the middle of the Uranus stuff and the Saturn stuff. This is all going on and questioning, do I really want this? Don't I want this? Puzzles going on around this. And it's going to go on for another year and a half. Well, it's only just started. Actually, the questioning of values is really just starting now, and it's going to go on for the next 2 years. But in the middle of that, at the same time, the Venus is on the midheaven. So she's going to see the value of this is what I've accomplished, what I set up. But because they're hitting both, so you've got to set up, and it's hitting Venus. Venus is squaring the moon. There's still going to be some question: is it worth it? Is it not? Or what? I got to set up. There's other puzzles around it with the sun. Venus squares the sun. Still, conjunct the midheaven is a real milestone, and that's 2020, December 2020, a year and a bit from now. Then I don't use the progressed angles so strongly because they're there, but because they really move around 361 degrees, most progressed aspects really are only lasting a day or two. The progressed ascendant aspects lasting maybe a few days. It's not a long-term thing. They move so fast around that. And even if you're doing it to 1 degree a year, it's still moving around, and it's really only on there. It's not like a whole year on there. It's only a few days on that. So the angles from the progressed moving angles are not as, so I don't mark them in so much. 2024, see 2020, moon goes into Scorpio. Okay, moon goes into Sag. 2024, Mercury squares Mars. That's another just rethinking of things. But then by 20, oh no, this is a progressed to progressed. Okay, so this is, I marked it if it shouldn't. There didn't need to be the Mercury conjuncted the Sun in 2016 May. She's studying astrology during that whole time from before and after. Squared to midheaven. In this September, Venus is on the descendant. Her progressed. Oh no, that's I should have marked that in. That's progressed to progressed, and that's the ascendant is moving too fast. So that's not. That was only something for a few days or a short time period. It's a few minutes in the year as it's happening. That's a few days in the progress chart. And Mercury hits the nodes in December, and the Sun hits the nodes. So I marked them in and hit the nodes because that's kind of eclipse point since she's coming up to the eclipse point. So the nodes are probably a little more active. And these are things to do with family. What am I deciding on? A family, home, mom, kids, being mom. So that's part of the issue. Do you leave the country and leave the kids, or do you stay and live what you want? Like, so these are some of the decisions being forced. And everybody's used to putting their story on her, expecting her to take care of everything. And she does too. So there's a limit to how much she can do. So decisions are being forced on her about her lifestyle. So, okay, this is the pieces. So we have the pieces of her chart, and we see the transits up high with the Sun moving up. We see some of the challenges. Well, I don't know what to say. We're not sure what's the right or wrong thing to do out of this. Well, we know she's going to be working and she's going to be making things, but the other half of her life. So that's the half of the ball, get everything together to go and do. She's doing that, but it's draining the energy, and she still needs to find out ways of recharging. So she's got a career in real estate. I think she has adjustments to make over the next few years to phase, as she phases down how late does she want to work towards? She might phase out the real estate and phase in the astrology and some healing work and some counseling work. And she would really have fun meeting people and doing things and working in those ways. It's not as practical in terms of making money, but it is in terms of meeting people, helping people, feeling good about yourself. Okay, so that's why I'm thinking about this chart. I'm thinking, well, she's coming to see me tomorrow. What am I going to do? These are the things I got to know about. Then I do all this work before, then I sleep on it. When I meet the person, I don't look at the chart right before it. I have all this information. I organize it. I have it around me like we have it here. But I'm not. This is my prep work. This is not my talking to the person. I'm going to ask questions that are pointed to the Pluto, to the Venus, and the Sun, and the Ascendant, and to the Saturn. I'm going to be asking questions of where she is and what's going on around that. And as soon as I get zing the right nerve on it, I'll know what it is. I'll know what the confrontation is. As soon as I see that, then I will stop her and we'll start to do some therapy or some work talking about that nervous point. So, like, we don't have a fixed thing here, but we certainly got all our alert signals going on and what we're going to talk to about the chart. That's valid. We're not defining a person. We're tuning into a person's matrix and their complex to try and sense their paradoxes, their complexes, their structures of what they're going through at this time. And having that in notion, we have an ability to help create a time perspective. And sometimes, like in this case, the time perspective, it's a couple of years, and I haven't done a session with her in a couple of years because it would be too intense. She knows the stuff, so like it's coming to an end, but not exactly. It's still tied into a lot of things based on decisions she's made. So naturally, she worries and she's insecure about who should I have done it, what should I do? Her Mercury, Neptune is working in overcharge. Okay, so that's done. We could leave it here and say we're ready. For me, it's at this point, it's nice to tune in. Like here's where you can use the I Ching really nicely. You go into the degree of the sun that it's in right now, like in September 6th, 2019. Her progressed sun hit 15 degrees Sag and went into the 16th degree. So from September 6th, 2019 to August 31st, 2020, her progressed sun's in 15 to 16 degrees of Sag. Okay, and it goes into the 9th house in 2025. And in 2028, 9 years from now, it'll square the Mars. So this is the progressed sun, the confidence. So I've blown this up and I've done this into a smaller, we're looking at a graph that was just calculating 1 degree at a time. It calculates each degree and each aspect as they happen. This chart goes in and calculates 1 minute and 40 seconds of a degree at a time. So we'll see, here's the, over here. Yeah, September 6th, I didn't highlight it down. I went into 15, I'll just do this now so we got it. Oh, not that one, I'm gonna have to go this way. This one, so we got it here. Okay, so here's the September 6th, goes progressed sun sitting 15 degrees Sag. It's in hexagram 8, line 3. Okay, 1 second. I'll just pull a few more things up here. These are sheets you have. It came with the handouts for this level. Actually, you probably got them in the level 8. But this is the I Ching ready for this. So this is starts in Capricorns. We've ever done a Sag. It has the planet, the hexagrams by each 6-degree section, and it has hexagram numbers. So we see the word hexagram 8. It's in hexagram 8, line 3. This is the hexagram called holding together. Okay, this is the hexagram saying holding together. Okay, then it's later on, like in about 4 years, it's moving into splitting apart into a change. Then it's receptive. So right now, it's in holding together. So we're going to look at that theme, read that hexagram and that line. So it's in line 3 this whole year, hexagram 8, line 3. And then this up, sorry, I thought I had it turned off. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Now, inside that one line, it could send another hexagram 44, which is the beginning of Cancer. It changed from Cancer. So right, this is just her. She's in Sag, but it's 15 degrees, so it went through the solstice. It went from Gemini into Cancer. So that's a fairly big shift. It's in the hexagram of preponderance of the great. No, coming to meet. There's an hexagram called coming to meet, and it's line 1. It's in line 1 till now, November 5th. It changed into line 2. Okay, so these symbols that we're going to look up that one. And 44, if we go back around and look at this, Cancer being Cancer 44 coming to meet. And it's in line 1 and 2 of that. But inside of this, it's in 2 hexagrams. It's like Sag sign, Cancer pentan, a Libra subpentan. Okay, and in a Libra subpentan, it's in the hexagram 33, 32. One is retreat, and the other is influence wooing. So it's going to go through line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of each. So I'm going to try and look up the one for now and go through the next steps and just look through the steps of the year ahead. It'll be hexagram 8 holding together line 3, hexagram 44 line 2, and hexagram 31 line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this will set up the 2-month phases or 10-day phases across the next. This is just till January. This is just till January 4th, just till the holidays. So this is the period during the last hit of these heavy transits. So it's just a symbolism going within it. So let's see what comes out. I don't have a preconceived idea. I don't have it mentioned. We're just going to look at it. So I'm going to pull up we'll read the Sagittarius one first.